I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. Yes, I will. Yeah, no offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy.
So the fact that we are the Niskas, because we
didn't just choose that name
that's
at
right,
random.
because we all are Niskas. I am a Niska by proxy. I married this fine gentleman in 1990, right out of college, and so then I inherited this guy. So
You didn't even have to pay the inheritance
that's right.
tax.
So brothers married, and that's how we are the Niskas.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. I actually began singing in a group called Hot Jazz first, and that was once again a lot of Manhattan Transfer covers and things like that, because that was our first love. And we began singing together. I mean, and I knew you sang, and I thought, what a wonderful voice, and what a great blend. And so we kind of wheeled you in to this group. Of course, in you being wheeled in, then that just led to Terry. And then eventually we wanted to add a fifth member, and so that's where the group 5 by Design kind of evolved into.
I was actually the fifth member.
Yes, it's true, because you had just been filling in, and then eventually we didn't. You were caught, so then we had to go 5 by Design.
Snagged him.
And that kind of is what began us being the group, and knowing this is something that we wanted to keep doing. We didn't want to go off and do something else. What can we do? Of course, we're still doing lots of cover material of Manhattan Transfer and some other vocal jazz groups, but we discovered this whole era of the 40s and 50s, and we fell in love with it. And so we decided to create shows that revolved around the era and brought back all of those wonderful memories and songs. And we went even further, really delved into the costuming and delved into commercials and personalities. And, we had Carmen Miranda, we had Betty Grable, and we just kind of developed this whole show based on the crux of it always being the music. But then we added all of these other elements and actually created a whole show.
We put several shows together. One was called Radio Days, and it centered around the war years of 1940s music. So from there, then we did another show called Club Swing, which followed the whole rise and sort of fall, if you will, of the swing era. And we did a bunch of music from that with more costumes, of course, Spike Jones and Your Hit Parade, and a lot of music. And
it took us to a lot of symphony orchestras. All throughout the United States, up into Canada.
And Boston Pops was
so probably the pinnacle of our touring, and everything that we'd worked for was the Boston Pops and the National Symphony.
Right. That was all very, very cool. We had a lot of fantastic experiences in that realm. So I hope to get back and do some more of that too. And then down the road, there came a time when swing and big band wasn't quite as much in favor for, I think, Pops orchestras, and we found ourselves singing a little less and less there. But then we also went, we liked a lot of contemporary music, and were drawn to singing some of those some songs that connected with us, but didn't necessarily fit the 5 by Design model. So we started the Niskas, the trio. And in that setting, it gives us, we've taken the opportunity to explore songs that connect with us on a different level, songs that are positive and uplifting, and like Happy People by Little Big Town, and Happy, Pharrell Williams, and Humble and Kind.
Childhood star shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church,
to bring
'cause your
our
mama
style
says to.
that has so many different influences from John Denver and folk and country and jazz, and I mean, there's been a lot of different musical influences in our sound. But yeah, so that's the current endeavor, and alongside still doing some 5 by Design performing as well.
Too, because for 5 by Design, that was kind of the gist of what we did was pre-social media.
Oh yeah, it was all pre-internet. Well, not all pre-internet.
Right. It kind of started to develop as time went. But the Niskas, we've kind of taken a whole different...
Well, we're trying to take advantage of
Yeah.
the new or newer things, and
We sound like old people. Newfangled
newfangled stuff. We're trying
I
to take
remember
it.
the Victrola.
And a foot pedal.
Anyway, so we're
No,
trying
we're-
to use social media for the Niskas, and we're working and doing a lot of videos and things, and for our Facebook page and YouTube and all of that.
YouTube, yeah. So we're trying to learn and trying to adapt, and it's a whole different environment, but man, it's still just as fun to.
And so when you're saying talking to people, even in the videos, as everyone does, you talk to people and you just try to get people to know you and feel like they know you. Hey everybody, we're the Niskas. We are here in the stairwell singing a great song with our good friend Tony Lindgren on guitar. And we just thought it'd be fun to go ahead and sing a little song here in the stairwell. Crazy! So we hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to share and check out more of our videos, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
It's about sharing. Sharing your experiences, sharing your music, sharing whatever. It's all about the connections.
So that's been fun for us to explore and discover.
And I think that's a major underlying theme of just music in general. It is about sharing, and I think that's why social media is such a perfect place for it.
I have done most of the arranging, probably the 90-some% of the arranging for the groups.
Yeah,
5 by
really.
Design. Initially, Kurt did a lot of the transcribing.
Transcriptions, yeah,
And then-
and you can't help but arrange a little bit because it's hard to pick it exactly.
When I started getting into the mix of things, I probably just too lazy to transcribe. So I just started doing close enough and doing my own arranging and adding things in here and there. And I think that the love of arranging for me happened when I was still in college, and I started dabbling a little bit in it. And then when I joined the group and started writing, I thought, oh, that's fun, and taking a song and creating something new with it. Not too far when we were doing those shows set in the period, because we're trying to stay true to
an era.
the music, to the era.
Yeah.
And then for, let's see, average of 20 songs a show, 5 shows or so. So there's probably at least 100 arrangements I've done.
100 arrangements that we
we
performed.
That we used. And then probably about another 100
or more.
or more that we maybe looked at or never even reached the surface. I might have played them and it was, that's interesting.
Interesting.
Let's move to the next one. So as Kurt was saying, I have a fair amount of digital dust. And then when we made the transition to the trio, then it went down to 3 parts. And I was initially reticent of how that would work, because I'd become so used to doing the 5-part arrangement.
And
That
it
sounds
was
painful.
kind of interesting because we knew as the Niskas that we really wanted still
Interesting
interesting
cool,
chords. Yeah,
because we like the crunch. We like we don't want just a simple triadic harmony. While there is more, probably a little more of that with the trios, because you can't just sing 7ths and 9ths and 13ths because
But we try.
it sounds a little odd. You do need an occasional root. I arrange from the standpoint of what I like to hear. When I'm working on a song, I listen to the melody over and over a few times and then let it percolate, and then I start hearing what I'd like to do with it. And whether it's
So is that like when you go on walks and you
Sometimes.
just sort of run that melody through your mind?
being in Minnesota, the walks are relegated more to the summer. Not so much the winter. It's too cold. You're
They're
too
just
busy.
faster.
No, you're too busy freezing. The thoughts just stick.
And it does seem too like oftentimes you'll come with an arrangement and then we'll sing through it, and then you're always
it's
very
definitely
open, you know.
yeah. It's always been a process of working together. I come with what I think sounds great, and then, do you like that note? Well, I wrote that note, but apparently I was mistaken. So it goes through a period of transition until we get what we really like. All of us together like, not just me. It's not just my arrangements. It's not my way. It's a group way, and we work together very well. And I'm open in most cases to changes. There are those occasional times where I think, okay, you're destroying the song. It all comes together in the end, and relatively easily. Now we've also started working on originals. I have about 20 or so songs, not all my lyrics. My friends have submitted lyrics, and we work on those together, and so the songs evolve that way, and that's an exciting part, because for many, many years I thought, why aren't we doing our own stuff? And I understand why. When you're doing the period shows and so forth, it's easier for an audience to digest what they know than hearing something they don't. But the originals are an exciting path to follow. I like having a chance to say my own thing with my own words or someone else's words that inspire me. It's very fun. It's very exciting.
Something else that's kind of exciting that's just kind of been transforming for us is the development of our publishing company. And we're using Terry as the face of our publishing company called Niska Music Publishing. Yes. It's featuring a lot of Terry's arrangements right now, and I don't know, the public domain
It's
songs.
primarily public.
Public domain, and we're heading towards some of the originals. Maybe an original that we like but doesn't necessarily suit either ensemble or the style, but still, nonetheless, we'd like to get it shared.
And that
get
suits
it
us
out there.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, things that
course.
we've been performing will be available public domain, and then also then because you've been arranging a lot through the years, just of all kinds of different things, choral and piano duet,
Or piano solo.
and piano solo. So we hope that keeps growing, and we keep building it, and making more and more things available. After so long of doing big band swing music has been a lot of fun, and kind of a journey of trying to figure out our sound and our style.
Message and our brand.
And as you had mentioned before, we do always like to keep things in a positive vibe, because back in doing the music of the 40s and 50s, you couldn't get more of a positive vibe type music, and that's just what we've always loved, and that's just always where our heart has been. So we do definitely lean toward the songs, the feel-good songs.
My every dream is about to come true. No reason to wait. We got the weather. We just need our dues. I do, baby. The sun is shining.
We kind of feel a little bit like we can have a country vibe.
Not the country of Johnny Cash,
Right.
Conway Twitty, or the older country. It's
Kind of
more modern.
like Lady Antebellum type, has been kind of influencing. We really have been enjoying Little Big Town, listening to their songs and things. In fact, we've just kind of been working on one of their songs called Happy People. So we've been having a good time with that one.
When I was going to the University of Eau Claire, it was my intent, and I believed it from very young, while I was still in high school, that I wanted to get into choral education or band education. I wanted to be a music teacher in the high school, because as my high school and even junior high band and choir teachers made such an impact for me.
Well, it was similar to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I went to Eau Claire for education, is because I thought I had gotten so much from my choir teacher and band
Chris
teacher.
was great. Chris Angfer was both of our choir teacher,
And I knew that's what I wanted to share, that passion with the next generation. Then I went through my education classes and realized it wasn't right for me.
And I'm not so sure, even for myself, I don't know, I never quite got there. Things changed and life took a different turn, and then I wasn't teaching. So anyway,
He met Lorie.
but
I drug you to the docks.
I like dark chocolate. Anyway, but music education, even the aspects or the elements of being a part of a team or a part of something, a part of an ensemble, you can get that with sports. Yes, you can also get that with music and art, and sports aren't for every kid. They weren't for me. I was just way too uncoordinated and too short and too little, and so it gave me that place to belong. Chris Angfer, our choir director, always encouraged us, and we felt like we were a part of the creation, especially in the smaller ensemble stuff. I'm like the swing choir, madrigal, TTBB, those sort of things. We were encouraged to be a part of picking the music or finding the song or getting together on our own to practice, and then bringing the work we did to her, and then she'd give us feedback and pointers, and we'd develop from there. That was such a fantastic experience that's why I wanted to get into education, and I think music serves people over their entire lifetime. It's not just whether you're gonna. Everybody doesn't have to be a performer. Everybody's not going to be the number one pop artist or number one classical artist or whatever. You don't have to be. That's the beautiful part about music or any team environment. It's something that you get to do because you love to do it and you get enjoyment out of it, and it fulfills and enriches your life. And I think that's what music serves. From the years that we have sung together, I think we now have a lot of similar instincts on how to sing a vowel, a word, a sound, a phrase. We used to spend a lot of time on, especially in the 5-part ensemble, and it was more important there, finding that same vowel sound. And that makes sense because when your area of sound is gonna span a wider span of notes, then it's even more important that the 5 of you or the more of you are making that same vowel sound to get the right sound on the chord, to get the integrity, to get the buzz, to get all those things that make it sound excellent, as opposed to it's okay. Yeah, there's a certain color and a certain buzz. That's the only word that always has stuck with us when we talk about when we would rehearse and we'd be listening for the integrity of a chord. There's a sound that it gets when it's in tune and it's right. And so we would spend a fair amount of time looking for that, from chord to chord, stop chords, from here to here, from there to there. And then, and I think everybody approaches rehearsing a little differently. I like to know what notes I'm singing, how they fit in, where it is against the melody, or if there's a part right next to it, how does it relate? I'll learn my part, and we've said this a lot at clinics and workshops. I learn my part like it is the melody. To me, it is the melody, and I sing it as melodically and as musically as possible.
You give it the same shape and phrasing that the melody would have.
Right, and that a melody deserves. But that's a big part of our sound, I think, is that approach of...
Well, and also our sound is, we don't necessarily look for one voice sticking out above the others. We like all of us together is the sound. It's not Lorie and Curtin Terry.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Except when it's me. Then it's me.
But I think our approach is, like you said, three instruments of the same type, if you will. 3 cellos or 3 clarinets or whatever sound is you're after. So yeah, that gives you a little insight into how we take our approach.
We recently finished filming a video for a new arrangement, my arrangement of Silent Night at the Lakewood Chapel in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I have to think for where it was. And we were fortunate enough to have Manny Laureano, fabulous trumpet flugelhorn for this video. He played flugelhorn for us, and it was just wonderful. And Tom Lewandowski on guitar. In some ways, it's reminiscent of the original Silent Night when the organ broke and they just had a guitarist. But fortunately, we had a trumpeter, flugelhorn in the choir area nearby. He came over from the next church. But it's one of the flagship arrangements for our publishing company. And it was very exciting to put it all together and to hear it as it all came together as a piece. The interplay between the voices and the instruments, and there's a spot in the song where Manny has the melody, and we're basically a 3-part support for that melody, and it comes together quite nicely. I try to be modest. I really, it's genius. It was wonderful to hear it come together, and the video work shooting in that beautiful chapel was amazing. And it's exciting when something that you've worked on and you put your heart and soul in comes to life like that. It's really quite rewarding.
From thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace.
For the publishing company, we published the original version that the 3 of us did, and then I made an arrangement, a version of it for 4 parts. Well, actually, there's more because there's some doubling, so it probably amounts to
Divisi.
Yeah, and there's a fair amount of more parts, but it still keeps the same form, the same basic sound. It's just a little bit fuller than the 3 of us can provide, and
you've done that with more than the Silent Night.
The Silent Night,
with
our Danny Boy and
Good
Christian Men Rejoice.
It's 3-part and 4-part.
And 3-part and 4-part. Because we realize that not every choir wants to just do the 3-part. And it's a challenge to do the other versions. I hear it one way, and then it's like, oh, stick in the 4th part. What? Stick in the 4th part? You're messing with fabulousness. See, I didn't say genius.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. I like it.
Okay. Well, I guess that is all for now. We just want to say thanks for listening, and thanks to Behind the Mic for having us as part of the wonderful series here. I think the Behind the Mic format is so wonderful to have a place where all of us vocal jazz lovers can come and hear each other and discover new people and new talents and
all
learn
over the
things.
world.
Yes. Yeah. So we really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you all again. Check us out on our YouTube page and our Facebook, and we'll see you again.
If you want to know the secret, can't buy it, gotta make it. You ain't ever gonna be it by taking someone else's away. Never take it for granted. You don't have to understand it. Here's to whatever puts a smile on your face. Whatever makes you happy, people.